Hello. So you might have seen on the website that we've got information about 3D design. So we thought we'd elaborate on that and show you what we mean, and what we can do with it. So if you see the screen on the left here, what we've done is we've got a board that's laid out with the Victron kit. Now this is all done in a CAD software package, and we place all the items on the board to scale. And then we make the holes, and all these little holes here that we've made are all sort of CNC. They will be CNC cut on a board. That's the plan behind it. So this is down to scale. So now we can put this in any van. So if you could send us, or if you wanted a layout like this, you could send us a detailed dimension drawing of the board and where it goes in your van, and we can mock that up in 3D space. And then what we can do is we can put all the Victron kit, bus bars, fuses, switches and everything in on that board, and if we can't find a model for it we can make one, but that takes a long time. But and so that it's then replicated as it would be, and then once that's done and it works, we can then take all the kit off it and then export this to a DWG file, and then this can be used in a CNC machine. Now if we zoom in, you'll see the detail that's in here. You see that we've got chamfers on the boards and stuff like here, just to give a lot of detail, which is actually pretty easy to do if you want to. You just do it like that, bosh, and there you go. You get a nice little rounded edge on that the CNC machine will do for you, obviously, to keep the cables from snagging or rubbing on whatever material it is you decide to do. And also we can do pretty cool things with this. We can mock it up, and if you give us a picture of the van, we can actually put this in scale into the van as well, so it would appear like it's actually in the van itself, so we can make sure that it fits. Just as an example, we're talking about like placing this stuff in the real world, the 3D images in the real world, and this is a bit of a laugh, but this is the board that we did for Luke's van, and it's in the dog's bed.
You can put it absolutely on any background.
So you can recreate that in any sort of environment that you wanted to.
So you can actually position it in your van.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so like it is on the edge of my kitchen table, for instance.
It's weird. It's so clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's on a real world background.
Yeah. But conversely, you could put that in someone's van. Put it in there, and and show how it's going to look. There's like another one we've done for somebody else.
Oh yeah, we did that. I remember that one.
Yonder, yeah. So yeah, pretty cool. How smart do these CNC boards look though? So good.
They're really
and it's a different level. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, some people are pretty damn good with a jigsaw, but I'm not. But the CNC machine does it perfectly. So yeah, there you go.
So we're going to send that to the customer. He's got the CNC company, hasn't he?
He has got the CNC company. So he's told us what he wanted. We've given him the design, and then he's going to cut this board and send it to us. And then when it's cut, we've got it here on the bench. We'll show you putting the kit on it, and then wiring it all up. So yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Well, we're hoping to work with this customer as well for future. So if you want your boards made as professionally as this, then we can help.
Yeah, so we can sort that out. Yeah, you tell us what the kit you want, give us your space, then we can mock it up like this, and then we can send the drawing to this chap, and he can manufacture it for us, send it back to us, we can build it, send it back to you, or, as in this case, bring the van to us and we'll fit it.
So this board is ready to be sent, is it?
Ready to be sent, yeah, to the CNC machine. Let's hope we haven't made any mistakes.
Do it. Here we are then. The board has been delivered. It looks pretty cool, looks pretty special. Really sort of rugged, rough material. I think it's going to last a long time to be really nice and sturdy. I don't think it scratches too easily. Well, I'm hoping it doesn't. So you can see all the holes here that the customer cut out in his CNC machine. Looks so cool. I could never cut a slot like that straight. And the servos going over here, the Orions. And the MPPT, got the holes cut. We're going to put fans in for the two Orions, so they cool the back of the Orions down. We've got the big multi-plus going here. And basically it's all here. Here it is. Something else we could have done on the CNC print is to mark all the screw holes for all of these items as well, so I wouldn't have had to measure it and do it myself. So say this servo, for instance, we could have marked out all where the screws were going, so I don't even have to measure it. But next time we do it, we'll do that. So instead, I'm just going to have to measure very accurately to make sure it's all lined up. I am going to attempt to start fitting this to this board. This board is going to be raised off the wall by about 100mm. So behind the board, I'm going to have a load of our blue duct in. So all the cables behind the board are all going to be inducting. Cables are going to go through the board, and then behind they're going to be nice and neat as well. So let's get it all on the board, see roughly what it's going to look like. So I imagine it would be something like that. This cutout of the board is where the wheel arch is going. This is going on the underside of a fixed bed in the back of a van. So you have a massive 320 amp hour battery going here. I mean, yeah, we've got to get a consumer unit on here as well. But this is going to be towards the back doors of the van. So we've got the fuses, easily accessible fuses and breaker. This is for the solar. And if your fuse blows, you can easily reach that from the back of the van. So I'm maybe thinking of a consumer unit for the multi-plus down here as well. Maybe below this one. Need to find one of those. We've got some around somewhere. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm just going to make sure I measure it all off, mark it all off, and then I can fix it all to the board, start wiring it. The idea is that I can wire most of this all together, and then when the customer turns up, I can just literally put the board in the van and plug it into a battery, and a few other little bits and pieces like the Orion DC charger cables to run. It looks pretty cool. It's a nice way of doing it, isn't it? Having the board all CNC'd out like this. Okay, so this is where we're up to on this job, Mark.
Looking good, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's very nice.
It's a bit of a learning curve for us. This is our very first sort of CNC 3D, first 3D mocked up CNC printed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Printed.
Yeah,
what do you call it?
First time we've done this. Well, yeah, it's a 3D mock-up.
Yeah.
And then we build it in virtual space, 3D space. Make sure it all fits, goes on the board. You know, the board, needs to be right, obviously, to the millimetre, because, so the customer has to do that.
Yeah.
And then we base the drawing on the size of this board, and we put the models in virtual space, and then take all these holes in, create these holes in the 3D model. And then what we do is we take all of this back off again, export it to a drawing format, DWG format, most popular CAD format, and then it goes to CNC.
Yeah, as full transparency, I have had to do a couple of amends to this, haven't I?
Yeah,
a couple of holes that I've had to adjust, and I've obviously used a router to curve the edges as if, to sit like the CNC machine did. Yeah. But I think
99% of it was spot on.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a service that we're going to offer, isn't it?
If you come around here and have a look at these, you can see we've got the holes at the back for the cooling. and then also the front one for the V directs, and then the cables coming through. Now this is exactly how it came out on the mock-up on the 3D drawing.
No,
so
it was really good. Yeah, it was only just a couple of tweaks, but this is a service that we're going to be offering, isn't it? We'd like to work in partnership with the CNC company. So if anyone wants like a really fancy board with like make it look, rather than just drill a hole and stick a cable through it, you could do it like this.
I mean the idea is that it also takes down the time to install. So the customer can say, right, this is the dimensions, this is what I want. We can mock it up and make it look pretty and how they want it to be, and then once they're happy with it, you can go off to CNC and come back. We can build this on the board. We can literally get it so it's almost plug and play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be all neat and tidy, ready to go. You can put it in your van, hook it up to your batteries, your solar, and the starter battery for the Orions, and you're good to go.
So we can work on the bench as well, can't we? So it's not so back-breaking by sitting underneath somebody's bed, and we did that for far too long.
Yeah.
So like the guys down the end there are building another board on the bench down there, and we've been working on this one. So it's it's a lot nicer to work like this, and like Mark says, just drop it in the van, plug it to a battery and the alternator of the van, and it's pretty much there.
Yeah, it's all done.
So what's this inverter we've got here?
Well, this is the Multiplus 2. It's 3 kVA, so it's about 2,650 watts thereabouts. Good for air fryers, heating water, kettles, toasters,
induction hobs.
Yeah. So if you're electric cooking, this is it's the bad boy that you need.
It's also your mains charge as well. It's up to 120 amp charge on sites or at home when you plug in. It's also got the trickle charge to look after the starter battery of the vehicle.
Indeed, yeah.
It's got lots of other clever little bits in there as well, temp sensors and as you say, there's a relay in there.
Yeah, there's a relay. There's a programmable relay. So
nice.
You can switch things on and off with that if you want to.
Excellent.
You can, there's assistance, and it all gets quite complicated. There's an awful lot of stuff that you can do with these.
No bus bars on this one. Instead, we're using the
Lynx power in for this one, just to keep things a little bit tidier.
So we've mounted the main isolator and a smart shunt battery monitor to the terminals on that. Makes it look quite nice and neat. You do have to customise the power in slightly to house those. They come with M8 holes, don't they?
Yeah.
And also we're going to customise the power in so it holds the mega fuses as well. But yes, looking smart, eh?
Get in there.
Get in there.
Got some cables in there.
Just going to show you around the back so you can see the board around the back. I'm about to mount some fans over to these Orion so you can see all the holes here. The isolator switches have got holes as well, so we're going to use some right angled lugs to connect those up. And over here we've got the cutouts for the MPPT and the two Orions, which are going to be fan cooled.
Only the Orions.
Only the Orions. The MPPTs don't get that hot, do they?
You need it, no. But it's good for the airflow for the MPPT because it can draw the air through and it creates convection.
This board's going to be mounted at 100mm off the wall, so there's loads of ventilation behind the board. Yeah. It's going to be loads of blue ducting behind you as well. So behind the board, it's not just it's not going to be loose cables. It's going to be all inducting behind the board as well. Yeah. We'll show you how it goes. So even though it's never going to be seen, I wanted to make sure the back was nice and neat as well. So we're going to use cable ducting, of course, Victron blue. What else? So all the cables back here will be nice and at least neat. But I'm going to flip it over now and start doing some wiring. So my next job is now to modify this power in so it has 4 spots for mega fuses like the Lynx distributor does. This doesn't. I'll show you what's inside there. So this is what's inside the Lynx power in. In the Lynx distributor, you have a circuitry board here, which only works if you've got the Lynx shunt or the Lynx smart BMS bolts onto the side here. In the power in the Lynx distributor, you've got bolts in here as well, which allow you to be able to put mega fuses here. In the Lynx power in, it doesn't come with those, but it's very easy to do. You just need to take off this with 4 screws, and then you can put bolts in behind it, and we'll show you how that works. Then you can have mega fuses in here as well. So once you've removed these things, which separate the negative and the positive, you've got 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove those, and then you can pull this piece out. And as you can see, you've got hex-headed spots here for bolt heads. So you can just find some bolts. I'll do that now. So once you've removed this, you can place some bolts. All M8 bolts. And then you can see that's where we're going to be mounting mega fuses to. So by putting another nut on this side, it makes it possible for the fuse to be level. Yeah, there we go. So we've got a place to mount mega fuses to. So then you don't have to have separate fuse holders and separate fuses. You can have it all nicely compact in one unit. Now the reason for doing this and modifying it is because the power in is cheaper to buy than the Lynx distributor. So if you don't need a Lynx Smart BMS, which is about £900, or the Lynx Shunt, which is about 200 quid, you could just get this and modify it to be able to hold the fuses. This is where we're up to with this board today. Doing a lot of random jobs on random things today, but managed to wire in the twin Orions and the MPPT to the distributor. That's all the wiring I've got to do today. I'm going to do a bit more tomorrow, but we're off to the show tomorrow. Norfolk Rock and Roll Warner Motorhome Show. So I'm going to P-clip all these to the wall because we've got to get some 70mm through all this ducting as well. If I pin it all to the wall inside, then it'll give us a bit more space. Right, where are we up to on this board? Show you where we're up to. It's almost there. So I've got to put the cover on that. I think we're done with that. The cover can go on that, yeah. This is all wired up now. The light's probably flickering, isn't it? So we've got the servo wired up with the relay. So this is the Servo GX. It's all wired up now. This is the screen hanging down here for the RJ45, for the multi-plus, a couple of V-direct cables to monitor the smart shunt and the MPPT. We've got the relay wired up for the fans. The two Orions have got those fans on the back of them. They're going to be controlled by the Ruby, which is on here, and the servo, one of the servo temperature controls on the relay, which is relay 2. We've got the MPPT was all wired up. We've got a little casing ground for it there. The two Orions are wired up with a ignition sense wire, which is going to go to a D plus in the van. Multi-plus is wired up. We've got the main 95mm cable. This is the 3 kVA systems. We use 95 square mil cable. They are the feed. We've got a grounding cable, the chassis. The casing of the multiplus is ground. We've got an RJ45 cable. We've also got a little trickle charge cable in here, which sends between 1 and 4 amps towards the starter battery, keeps that topped up. And obviously we've got your incoming and your outcoming of the multiplus. The solar cables have got to go into the top of this DC breaker. The out is going off to that MPPT. We've got the 12-volt fuse box here. The switch is going to be to just turn the 12 volts off. Lynx power in. We've adapted this so that it holds mega fuses. It's got 4 mega fuses in there. And this is our battery monitor, which has got to have a cable from the leisure battery tomorrow. Main isolator, kill switch for absolutely everything. If there's an emergency, or if you want to work on the system, you can turn that switch and kill the power to everything. We have breakers, a way to isolate everything. And of course here is the main consumer unit. Switch off all the main stuff. Let's go around the back. It's getting there. We've got trunking all on the back as well, which is going to keep it nice and neat, but nearly there. This is the back of the board, which is going to be raised off the wall. Here are the 2 fans for the Orions. We've also made a hole for the MPPT as well, so that can be cooler. We've got some trunking covers on these bits. A bit more to do over here tomorrow, but that's where we're at. The van turns up tomorrow. So the idea of this is that we don't have to have the van, we don't have to have the customer's van here for so long, or the customer waiting around for so long. We can make it all on the board for the customer's size. Whatever the customer tells us, whatever size the customer tells us the board, the area is, we can make it on the board before you even get here. Still charge you for our time, of course, but it's a lot, yeah, it saves a lot of time for the customer, so you don't have to get so much time off work, etc. So that's that. So we're looking forward to seeing that job in the morning. Workshop's a bit of a mess right now. We're having a load of stuff constructed right now. It's going to look awesome. All right, see you tomorrow.